is why I was the kind of the way I was. And because, in a traumatic experience, the brain compartmentalizes and blocks things out.
Tulsa Talks is the podcast that is inspiring people to have everyday meaningful conversations to gain perspective and help the world.
So we're here with Phillip Brotherton today talking about addictions and disorders, his path to recovery, and how he's now helping others through a recovery process. Phillip, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I'm honored to be here. It sounds like an exciting thing you guys got going on here, Craig.
So tell us about your upbringing. What was your family like when you were a child?
We're very active, I would say. I mean, I have 5 brothers and sisters. I have two stepbrothers, 2 sisters, and a brother. So it ended up, it was very, very active. Me and my brother were in sports, any sport you can think of, more or less growing up. And then, wrestling was our main sport always. And then, it was a very active lifestyle. We were raised in a Christian household, and whatever that looked like in the 80s and 90s, So, but it was it was functional, but also dysfunctional at the same time. You don't see it in the moment, but it was just how a lot of things are different now as far as
compare and contrast it for us.
A lot of things that you could do in the 80s and 90s, you obviously can't do today when raising children. You know what I mean?
Like discipline?
Absolutely discipline, which sometimes is heavy-handed and sometimes it's, and sometimes, but discipline is necessary because, even the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I do.
It's
How much do you think it affects our society now to not take the rod sometimes?
Oh man, I think we see a generation of entitled children that haven't had to suffer the consequences of their actions.
Yeah,
Setting
up for failure, setting our society up for
failure. Absolutely. I think it's it's a hard road that we're gonna have to navigate with them.
Unless we step up as leaders at some point and help them realize that actions do have benefit or consequences.
Yeah. It's just like we were talking about before. All choices are a fork in the road. It's either you have a left or a right, and every series of choices, it's either you're going this way or you're going to go this way.
But even with your Christian upbringing and your parents not sparing the rod, giving you correction and direction in a Christian household, for some reason you took the wrong fork at one time in your life?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What did that look like?
Well, it looked like me, when it was all said and done, it looked like me facing 60 years in prison.
60 years?
Yeah. It looked like at one point in time.
What the heck did you do?
What didn't I do is more of the question. Guns, drugs, mainly is what it was based off. It was a series of getting, multiple DUIs and things like that.
So it wasn't a one-time event. No, it was a spiral effect.
It was very much a spiral effect over a long period of time. I was in addiction. I started drinking and at the age of probably 11 years old.
Was it fun or was it to suppress something?
In the beginning it was fun. You know what I mean? And it was
just out partying with friends at 11 years old.
Yeah. I have siblings that were, 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And so, they'd be partying with their friends. And so,
pop a beer with them.
Well, they'd she would like literally be like, here, this is for you guys to drink, like non-alcoholic, whatever. But we'd be like, oh, that looks fun. You know what I mean? Like, so we'd sneak beers and we'd sneak, you know what I mean? Or we'd sneak the cowboy Kool-Aid and, you know what I mean? Be like, oh, okay. So,
And where'd that lead you?
well, it led me right to where we're talking about, being open to smoking, starting off with smoking pot and then, doing every drug that you can pretty much think of. Most things that I have not tried. So, um, I've tried pretty much everything, like I said, in that realm that you can think of. And it led me to a place where I was selling meth and doing meth and that was always one of the things for me. It was like I didn't want to have to pay for
Skim a little off the top kind of thing.
didn't want to have to pay to play. So
Yeah.
I just rather buy a little more and sell it and do that type of thing. So it led me into drinking, having 6 DUIs, and also led me to getting in trouble with the police and having a rap sheet as long as my arm. And but in God's grace, He's seen to restore me to where I am today as a business.
So you went to prison for a little while.
For a little bit. Yeah, I did. I went through a program called Teen Challenge here in Oklahoma at Sunrise Ranch. It's a 13-month faith-based discipleship program. I was actually in Osage County Jail and cried out to God, and when I went in front of the judge, my attorney was like, look, can he go to this? And the judge was like, well, I'm not going to send him there if he wants to bail out and go there. And so I had a supportive family. They helped me out, went there. And then through the whole time
So this did cost something financially?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It costs a lot financially. I mean, not just for me, but I was blessed to have a family that was able to help me. And,
so your family stuck by you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They didn't just abandon me. They didn't, I can't be more blessed to have, the family that I have, because they are very supportive in everything, especially now that we're doing, but we support each other. We bear each other's burdens, things
So
of
you
that
went
nature.
You were looking at 60 years. You went to this camp. You did 13 months, you say?
Yeah, so I went through a 13-month program there, and then I also was hired on as, I was ran the kitchen and the commissary that they had there on campus, was over that for about 6 months, so 18 months there. And then when it came to my sentencing date, I had a good friend, Pastor Joshua West, and Lauren Schreffler, the director of Teen Challenge. We all went for my court date, my what it was, and
they saw what you were doing. They saw that you were trying inside the program, and they stood with you.
So I still, there was mandatory minimums that were attached to my my things, and and it was, instead of 60 years, I ended up getting, with everything, it was 12, which they ran kind of what they call concurrent. So it allowed me to knock it down to even further to 4. And then in Oklahoma, it's if you don't know the prison system, they have a thing called days, and your good days and stuff like that. And went in and ended up doing about 17 months in prison. And then I was released and went right back to Teen Challenge, where I worked for a few years before I made my way back to Tulsa and started a business.
What kind of business did you start?
I have a lawn and landscaping business. It's called Pac B Industries, and people always are like, "Well, where'd you come up with that?" And it's the initials of me and my children, PAK-B. That is our first initials and then all of our last initial for our, because I wanted to build something for them. And with, what I mean, with and with them, more or less, my son being here in Tulsa, being able to, he's old enough now to come alongside and work with me and for me, and when he's not helping out with his little sister. But it's an opportunity, at this age, because he's 14-year-old boy, gonna be 15. So it's my duty as his father to make sure that he is equipped
with a good work ethic,
with a absolutely
and
with
an
a good
ability to have some kind of skills.
absolutely. And if that's just running a weed eater and hopping on a mower, and you've got a leg up on somebody that doesn't know how to do anything. You know what I mean? And just
Life experiences are rich.
they are. It's what most of us will draw from to compare to whatever we do in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know my first job per se was on a farm at 13 years old.
Yeah.
And I draw from that to this day. And
Yeah.
it's never like farmers are some of the hardest workers we have in our society.
Oh, absolutely.
And
they need to be revered.
Is that absolutely in it? But it was then that I learned that that's not necessarily what I wanted to do.
I was on job site. My dad's a general contractor in Southeast Texas, the Beaumont, Texas area, and he builds metal buildings, commercial metal buildings. And I was on job site at 7 years old, getting tools, putting tools up, driving a forklift, just whatever needed to be done.
Yep.
That I was strong enough to do at 7 years old.
Yeah.
I was there doing it on holidays and summer breaks and stuff like that. And I loved it.
Sure.
It was having something come through my life worth seeing.
Fun.
Because
you're like, oh, what other 7-year-old's getting to drive a forklift?
Right.
Like,
yeah. And hang out with dad.
Absolutely.
And so all that being said, you've been equipped through these life experiences. Your family stayed with you. You went through this teen challenge, and now you have a nonprofit.
Well, it's not it is
a for-profit.
No, it's right. Currently, it's I just ran it underneath my current business license for EIN, so it's not set up as a nonprofit yet. Okay. I do have plans to transition into a nonprofit, but the quickest path to just getting it out of there was already taking the path that I've already got.
Sure. Yeah. So, yeah. I had that assumption, which a lot of people would probably think that what we're doing here at Tulsa Talks and the Complete Peace Movement would be a nonprofit as well, but it is a for-profit entity that is community-based, community hub system, and you have renovated a house that is going to be a hub for people that are coming out of addiction and or in the middle of a system to transition back into society? Absolutely.
Yes. So it's called House 2517. And that references 2 Corinthians 5:17, therefore, if any man, is a new creation.
Yeah.
Behold, the old things have passed away, and behold, all things are new. Whenever we're in Christ. So it's in that, and that stems from, David Wilkerson and the founder of the Oklahoma Teen Challenge, Bill Everett. That's a staple verse that we had in our program, and so it's something that I wouldn't be where I was without them. You know what I mean? And so it's just I thought it fitting to name the house that.
So you found value in what you had received. You want to connect to it in your own way, and you want to help these men
and give these men value as well. It's the house is. I'm not trying to run a program. I'm trying to just give these men that are coming out of a 13-month program, faith-based program, a hand up to that next step, not a handout. That's what I know that's been put in my heart by God to help these guys, and just and a lot of it came from my volunteering. I volunteer at the Hope Center as a counselor, so I have a guy that I meet with every week and kind of mentor him through his program. I've been doing that since their inception here in Tulsa. So going on 2.5 years or something, somewhere around there. And, I just saw, and I also dealt with this at Teen Challenge, where you see men have built their lives back over the course of this program, but they spent decades tearing it down before that. So it's kind of hard for people, especially people close to it, are skeptical. Is this real? is this, you know what I mean? They're like, well, it was a long con before. You did this for 20 years. What makes this 13 months so special? Anybody can do a year or something. And then, so what's going to keep you on this road? And so, you know, it's just an opportunity for them to come in and, you know, financially be able to afford maybe paying back their fines and fees, and also afford a place to live, but also not taking them directly out of the community that they've spent the last year building too, because it's pretty strategically located, the house, 6 blocks away from the Hope Center, which is where a lot of these guys, I think, will come out of. And then it's also the church that they had attended for the last year. It's through the neighborhood on the other side. So
if they need to walk to church, they can walk to church.
Absolutely. They need to walk if that's where they want to go. I'm not saying that if you live there, you have to go to the Spirit Life.
But it's available.
But it's available.
And accessible.
Exactly. And then there's another church literally right around the corner. I mean, you go anywhere in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and there's a church on every other corner. And a lot of times you'll find one in halfway in between. So, you know, I'm not saying, hey, this is what you got to do, but these are all things that you're already doing, and these are people you already know. So
yeah, things are working for you. You might as well continue on that path for a while longer.
Let's figure out a plan for the next, you know, what's your plan? Next 6 months, next year, next 5 years.
I would say a lot of people that are listening or watching this don't have a 5-year plan for themselves, that have never went through a program like this.
Probably not. I mean, you know, and that's not, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it's just like, but I have found that when you do write down goals, have vision boards, whatever you want to call it, make a list, whatever you want to call it, that you're more apt to accomplish those things. You know what I mean? Because you're not just out there spinning your wheels saying, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do this. You have focused attention to what your goals are, what that list is.
Yeah.
And so
a vision without a plan is only a dream.
Exactly.
And if somebody wants to take action in their life and help other people take action with them to accomplish that, it might be a good idea to write it down so that you can understand it, and whoever you interact with might be able to come alongside you and help you as you help them.
Absolutely.
Talking about helping them and helping you, Phillip, what do you think that this is going to do for your life as you're launching this housing for these people?
I mean, honestly, my goal, like I said, is to help. And so I think it's going to help people and helping people, to me, it only enriches my life. You know what I mean? It's something that it's an intangible that you don't receive through money. You don't receive through anything else. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that you like, hey, you know what I mean? And you never know who you could be helping. You could be helping, the next CEO or the next great garbage man that rides on the back of the garbage truck. Because somebody that's active and participating in helping us live life better. Absolutely. That's all that matters. You know what I mean? And you never know what role anybody's going to play in anybody's life, but it doesn't matter what role you play. You know what I mean? As long as it's a positive one.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing, trying to help people.
That's it.
The hopeful expectation is that they will receive that and help as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll come alongside, and not only that I want to help them, that they want to help themselves. Like I can't, you know, I mean, we can only want something for someone as bad as they want it for themselves. Like you can want it even more, but if they don't want it, like, okay, that's like my son. I get this example. Like I would have loved for him to wrestle and do that type of thing, but he's not that type of kid. He's in the band and he plays clarinet and things of that nature. And so we're all in on the band and we're all in on the things that, you know what I mean? And he's very, talented in that area, which I'm not. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's where your talent's
That's your thing.
Let's do it. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? So let's do that stuff. So it's an adjustment. You got to be, you just got to make sure that you're pushing people in their direction.
Yeah. Helping them.
Yeah, helping them, and it's like encouraging,
Yeah.
and maybe getting them, you know what I mean, and giving them the support that they might not have received as with these men as children, or or guidance.
Have you ever tried to help somebody that didn't ask for help?
I think we all have.
A lot of times that didn't work out so good for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. It doesn't. Yeah. It usually doesn't. It usually doesn't end well. It's definitely more receptive when the door has been opened.
Yes.
Instead of you trying to open the door.
Yeah. Let's not break and enter into people's lives.
Right. Exactly. Let's not let and that's. I kind of think that's where the house comes along, because it's a lot of these guys, they're looking for that next step. It's not that I'm out searching for them. Oh, hey, you'll be great for this. It's like, it's kind of just come to where it's like, here it is,
we have it available.
I'm not like out there scouring the streets or programs or anything, looking for guys to do this. It's here's an opportunity. You want to come alongside and do this. If you're looking for a place with stability, with along the lines of the same similar structure that you're already coming out of and doing the things that you're already doing, here's a tool, and here's something that's available.
Phillip, how long have you been drug-free, clean?
So January is 9 years. So whatever, 9 years and 3 months ish, somewhere around there, 4 months. So
what is a key to you being clean for that long?
Oh, my relationship with Jesus Christ, for sure. That's the only way I stay where I am, and the ability that He's given me to come alongside men that are like me and help the next man that is maybe not quite where I'm at, or what I mean, not got as long of time, I guess, you know what I mean, but just kind of just like, hey, this is what has worked for me, and this is, what I mean, I'm just kind of fumbling through it, as we all do in life, because I mean, how many of us really know what we're doing? I mean, we have a good idea. We get better at it as we go, but how many of us really know what we're doing?
Yeah, I've seen people have that long pause in their life, and they call it analysis paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
When you try to figure out everything before you make the first step, how the end's going to be and all the steps in between, a lot of times you never have movement at all. You
get stuck. Yeah. I mean,
so if you want to figure it all out before you ever start, good luck with that.
You'll never get anywhere. You'll never start. You'll never even take the first step. You're like you said, you'll have paralysis, and it's just one of those things where I think you have to have an ability to shut out what are people going to think? What am I going to make a mistake, or am I going to, because
we're all going to make a mistake.
Exactly. You have to be willing to accept that we're going to make mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes. It's what you do in those times. Are you, depending on whatever the mistake is like, do you have the ability to course correct, take ownership of your wrong? Also make amends, if amends need to be made, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to be able to navigate through it, because it's those next steps in life that keep you going forward.
And when we make enough mistakes fast enough in our lives, we could possibly see around different corners than we'd seen in the past.
Yeah, you can usually see it coming.
Yeah. And if I can see a problem coming, even if I don't know the answer, God always gives me somebody with the answer, or He gives me the answer directly inside myself as I'm walking through it before I make that mistake.
Absolutely.
a lot of times.
Absolutely. You know, God equips each one of us with certain talents. You know what I mean? Obviously, you with this and what you're doing here, God has equipped you with the talent of thought provoking questions and the ability to draw out, you know, what people probably don't even know sometimes they have inside of them. Because when you ask the question, then somebody has to pause and think for the answer. It's just like, oh well, how each person's going to answer every question that you have differently. But they're all gonna but every question answered is of value to not only you but to anybody that is going to see or hear or um, take in the answer of each and every one of those questions. So
You have a beautiful story and a beautiful why to what you're doing in life. We appreciate you coming on to Tulsa Talks today. Hopefully, we can have you again sometime.
I appreciate it as well. Thank you so much for having me, and I'd love to come back.
We are here to help you discover or develop your passions, how you can use them, and why you exist. How can we help you help others better?